I'm an economist. I am a specialist with a specialty in healthcare. I'm also an educator at UMD. I was raised by a single mother, and in our family we really struggled financially to make ends meet. I'm currently married. My husband's name is Rob Widener. He's a criminologist at UMD, and we have two sons featured in this picture, Otis and Lewis. And we live in the Congy neighborhood by Longview Tennis Courts. And been really happy in Duluth, and we're excited to be raising our boys here. And they're going to be, Otis is at Congdon Public School. During my career, I've gained a lot of experience in leadership. So, and a lot of it's been within the university. I've served on many governance committees as chair or vice chair. I've been a very strong advocate for employees at UMD, and because of my strong advocacy, I've been recognized and asked to serve in leadership positions at UMD. I've also been a strong advocate in our community on healthcare reform, and many people are supporting me in my campaign because of that advocacy work on healthcare reform in our community. And I've also been very involved in my local union on the executive board, and I've been a delegate to the Central Labor Body and a general board member of the AFL-CIO in Minnesota. And so I've been very involved in issues that affect working families in Minnesota, and that's one of the primary reasons why I'm running for office, is that so I can be an advocate for working families, the middle class, and those who are struggling in Duluth, and to help all Minnesotans as a legislator. My mother was a lifelong Democrat and activist, and I've been a lifelong Democrat and activist, and I want to continue to do that. My mother ran for public office in the 70s in Wisconsin. I've spent most of my adult life in Minnesota. And she taught me the importance of government, and I owe my success to government and to public education. And I'm running because young people don't have the same opportunities I had, and it's really sad that our middle class is now weaker. And I want to make sure young people have the same opportunities I had to make their life a success and to make our state a success. And based on my experience of living in a family that struggled financially, and my training as an economist has really brought me to realize the importance of government, and has really shaped my philosophy and my approach to decision making and problem solving. So we really need to follow ideas that have been proven to work, and not ideological myths that have failed and that have been practiced in the real world and have failed. So I really base my problem solving and decision making on factual data and science, and I think that's really important. All those stories are also important to convince people of the right thing to do. I believe that government is important, and we need to value government, and we need government to protect our individual freedom. And to protect our individual freedom, we need strong communities. And to have a strong community, it takes a strong government and democracy, and we need to protect those. So I believe the government exists to protect and empower us as individuals. It's created by us, and it should be used in a way that benefits all of us. One of my favorite philosophers is John Stuart Mill, and he also believed in these values of individual freedom and the importance of government to do what's best for our community. And so I want to use government when I'm elected as a tool to help all of us, especially those who struggle, and to strengthen the middle class. And the issues that I'm hearing, I've been door knocking for 7 months. And these are some of the issues that are of concern in our community. The number one issue, and it varies by demographic, age, gender, etc., but the biggest one is economic security. Education is also important, and this is something I know a lot about as an educator. That we need to fund public education at all levels. early education all the way through graduate programs. Because education is the foundation for economic growth and the way to opportunity, to strengthen the middle class, to help our economy, to help all of us. We need to make sure we're funding infrastructure improvement. We need to protect our environment, strengthen our environmental standards, and maintain the strength of those standards we have, improve public safety, and to ensure human rights. And I'm just going to go over a couple things. I'm going to get kind of wonky now, but so economic security. So this is a big issue for people that I've been talking to. And one is inequality in income and in assets or wealth. So if you look at this chart, we're in a period of severe income and wealth inequality or asset inequality. CEOs earn an average of 231 times more than the average employee salary. 231 times more. In 1979, it was 29 times more. So inequality is a problem. The top 1% have 24% of all income, but 40% of all wealth. This is a distribution of, the last one was income, this is of wealth. 80% of the population only has 7% of all wealth, compared to the 1% that have 40% of all wealth. And why is this dangerous? Because it affects our democracy. It weakens our middle class, which is the foundation for economic growth. So we need to address this. And this is going to be difficult to do. Because one thing people don't like to talk about are taxes. But taxes make the government function and provide services that we all benefit from. So despite talk of high taxes, in reality, if you look at the data, we have a tax rate that it's at its lowest point in the last 75 years, the lowest point. And it's the lowest of most developed countries, our tax revenue as a percentage of GDP. Furthermore, tax rates for the highest earners, look at the top left chart, are near all-time lows. And this further hurts the middle class. And it's led to deep cuts in vital programs like education, funding infrastructure, protecting our environment, funding research on ways to have clean energy, sustainable energy. So we need tax revenue to provide important public services that people depend on. The other big concern is access to affordable and high-quality health care. So this is pre-Obamacare. Healthcare, as you guys know, was very chaotic. We had a very chaotic delivery system. And this is why the Affordable Care Act was so long, because healthcare is difficult to address, very complex. I've been studying for 20 years and I learn something new all the time. It's one of the most costly healthcare systems, about $3,000 more compared to the next developed country of Norway. And most people think that we need to fix it. We need to fix it. 75% say we need to either completely rebuild it or we need fundamental changes. And that's why the Affordable Care Act was so important. One of the biggest changes that we've had since Medicare and Medicaid has been implemented. The DFL party has done a lot to reverse a lot of the things that Republicans have done, like protect the wealthy, hurt the middle class and infrastructure, and discriminate against women and other groups. Under the DFL leadership, we've cut taxes for working Minnesotans. We have created a budget surplus. We balanced the budget. We restored spending to our schools and for local government aid. They increased the minimum wage, and they passed the Women's Economic Security Act. And Minnesota is open for business. As an economist, I know that education is the key, and Minnesota's returning their investment in education. And we've been rated in the top 10 as good business climate by Forbes and CNBC. We're outperforming economically in terms of our GDP growth and job creation. We have low unemployment. We reduced the number of uninsured by 40%. And we've had a budget surplus. So I think Minnesota is doing really well economically. We need to move forward based on this accomplishment and not backward. By strengthening, what I want to work on is strengthening public education, address the achievement gap, erase make sure that we have affordable education at all levels, repair and fund our infrastructure, strengthen MNsure, which is the health insurance exchange, and protect the right to vote for all Minnesotans and preserve human rights. So I've been endorsed by many people and many organizations, and I'm really proud of those, but I'd be most proud to get your endorsement and your vote on November 4th. So I really ask that you elect me. I want to be an economist for the people and not for Wall Street. So thank you very much.